Nice to see everyone here. We are blessed. We are healthy and sound, and especially have the wisdom to be in a church where God granted the truth in the Bible. Today we will share a lesson on the most important word in the world, love. The word love in my preaching is seldom mentioned. More than 60 years, since the beginning, I always emphasize obey the law of God. Obey what says in the Bible. Obey the commandment of God and written in the Bible. All this year, and I'm still doing the same thing. And suddenly I found this is love. To obey His command is love, the love of God in you. So all this year, actually, what I was preaching, sharing, is the love of God. Love. But if I don't mention, many people will not know. And as I say, by the grace of God, that I'm blessed. All this year, I found myself blessed because I found good lesson to share with all who are willing to listen. We obey God's commandment. God's command. What is it? Love God. Why do we obey God's commandment? Because we love God. Let's make it very, very clear and put it in our mind for as long as we shall live. We obey God's command because we love God. All this year, I emphasize obey the command of God. And this is love for God. Now we have to learn love of people. This word love is mentioned many times in wedding ceremony. To me, as I know, in Western culture, Western world, there are three little words they say most often in their life is I love you. In America, everywhere in the world, they always like to say I love you. Even though I know many times in the world it is fake, it is just a kind of courtesy without really love in the heart. They will still say, I love you. But as I myself grew up and I observe, in a reality, maybe you can say in Hong Kong among the Chinese people is why, 为什么 我爱你 I love you is three words. In Chinese also three words. 为什么 why. Now we know maybe every Priscilla and Z's daughter already asked many times now. Why? When you ask her or tell her something, she will say, why? That's one of those words they would learn and they use most often in their life. Especially when the father and mother told them to do something, or especially when sometimes they don't like that, they'll say, why? As for myself, all this year, I always ask why. Okay? 为什么? I think here what meant that very much like myself, is golden. I think he like to ask a lot of why too. Okay, it's good to ask why. That's why I found all this lesson to share, because I am curious all these years. And during the wedding ceremony, this is the most frequent quoted verse recited or speak it loud. Some people even sing it out, what love is. But in America, 50% of marriage end up in divorce. And now they think they have a better way to be together, for a man and a woman to be together without wedding ceremony, without certificate, without anything. They just like it when they come together. When they don't like it, they separate. So everybody is free. They do it that way. And here it says, love is patient, love is kind. Now, love for people is patient and love is kind. Love does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. Okay, I just recite it. I don't have time and I don't know how to explain each item. Here we have a professor in Chinese. You can ask him, he knows all those things. When the pandemic, COVID-19 is over, we resume our Bible class, our Bible study. We will resume when we feel safe. Okay? Yeah. 10 o'clock, I remember. I want to share with you too. 40 years ago, God granted us this building. Now I know. One of the reasons is God, 40 years ago, God already know we're going to have this problem, pandemic problem. And that's why God granted us this building. At the beginning, our meeting audience may be about 40, 50, something like that. And our contribution is 200 or 300. 1/3 or half is for myself. When Chinese people walk by here, they came in and visit. And all they like to see is read the bulletin board. And they saw the contribution. They saw how many people meeting here. They asked, all of them, they asked, how much you rent for a month? I said, no, we bought this. They said, how is it possible? With this many people, with this much money, how do you buy this thing? I said, no, you are right. We don't know how to buy this thing. But God gave it to us. God granted this to us. And today I know, maybe you don't, but for myself I know why God gave us this place. Because 40 years ago, God already know we will have this problem at this time. This building, the air circulation is so good. Anytime when I leave this door open and open the front, the air suck in right away. Okay? Whenever I'm here by myself, I want to save electricity. So I keep most of the time, I keep this place no light, in dark. And I saw that curtain over there. The curtain is not because of the window, okay? Because so ugly behind that. The window, the curtain move. Will you be scared?
Not here.
Good for you. You're not scared. You're not scared. It's because the air flow. You see the air flow. You saw that. Oh, now I said that. See, because I want people to know the air circulation in this building is excellent. It's just well designed. I don't know why. I don't know what. Just that God granted this day to us, and we needed it today. We had high ceiling and we had airflow. I can feel the airflow, okay? But if still Some people do not feel safe. They don't come. We have few people. If they don't ask me, I have enough problem. Okay, don't add anything more on me. If you add it on me, I will say, if you don't feel safe, don't come. So simple, right, Gordon? You only go to places where you feel safe. You don't want to go to a place where you don't feel safe. That's what I can answer. Okay? Reality is like that. Okay? And I appreciate that. Yeah. All you guys here, I hope that you feel safe here. Not because you come here to give me moral support, all those things. Okay? Don't do that. You feel safe, welcome. I love to see you. But if you don't feel safe, we have people, they tell me they don't feel safe to come. Okay? I said, so be it. You don't come then. Okay, let's come back here. I just want to mention that so you can feel better. See, I can see when you stand still, sit still, you will feel the air flowing. Okay. Love does not envy, does not boast, is not proud. Love is not rude, R-U-D-E. I checked the original text. Rude means what? 没有礼貌，没礼貌。Rude means what? Also, you cannot say a thing during the worship. I was trying to ask you to explain what rude to me. I check it out down here. Down here I got it. Unfit with who you are. Unfit with who you are. Okay? Like I love those little children, especially when they behave and sit well. When they play, I love them. I want to roll on the floor with them. But if you see Brother Chen roll with Ari on the floor, what do you see? What do you say? That's what rude means. Does not fit. As a preacher, we roll on the floor. But for a baby, okay, for Jay, it's okay. Understand? That's what it means. That one, okay? Rude, that's what that means. Unfit with who you are. You are. Here is another one. Not self-seeking. This is a great time for me to share this lesson at this time. Because November 2nd or 3rd, America will vote. America will vote who become president, next president. Okay, this November, America will vote. Now, listen carefully. Those who vote for whoever, what was their thinking in their mind? I guarantee you, 99% vote for the one they like. Vote for the one had their platform, their speech, their promise, what they will do if you vote for him. And all this, what they will do, among this, what they will do, how many of them benefit you? Benefit you. Okay, benefit me. I vote for this guy. I vote for this man. Because he promised to do the things. Some of them is good for me. These people do not have love. All these people do not have love. Okay? If they vote for this president because with him we will love God a lot more. That's of course. I don't think too many people do that. But I'm explaining what that means. Self-seeking. What does self-seeking mean? Okay? What is for me? Everything is what is for me. That's what that means. Now the people all over the world, they vote to select their leader, their political leader. They all, according to what I understand, okay? I welcome people to prove me wrong. I'll be very happy. Everyone prove me wrong. Okay, they always vote for this person who he will do after he got elected. The thing that he promised to do benefit me. Love is not think evil. Does not think evil. This is KJV translation. Okay, correct translation. Other translation, especially NIV, love record no wrong, is a wrong translation. Let me remind you all the time, one more time, especially for young people, and especially for David. David is such a low-key, loving person. Remember, Talia also, anyone who do things to harm you, you have to remember all the time. Not just remember what did they do that harmed you, how they do it, what they did, everything. You have to remember very clear. Remember all for life. Next time when you see this same person, be aware, be careful. Don't get too close. You have to remember, whoever did anything that hurt you, remember, so you will not be hurt the second time. The translation in the Bible, all the Bible, is wrong. When it translated, said, record no wrong, it's a wrong translation. Because God record all our wrong. Every wrong you did. Last week I preached that. Every wrong you did, recorded, and will be judged according to what you have done. Very clear. So that translation is wrong. It is think no evil by the grace of God. KJV got it correct. Think no evil. All of you, especially you young people, like Nicholas, Sophia. Of course, she is too young to know this. Remember, in your classroom, in everywhere you go, anyone who do whatever hurts you, remember that person. Remember what they did. But never think about revenge. If you revenge, you have to what? Think evil. Understand now? Don't revenge, but remember. So you will not suffer the second time. To suffer the second time from the same person is what? STPID. I agree for that. I don't think you like that. You don't like that word. Nobody likes the STPID. I don't want to say that word, I spell it. Okay? Suffer the second time from the same person, the third time is very STPID. We believe Jesus. We are smart enough not to get hurt the second time. First time is enough. For that, I don't have to worry about Joshua, right? He's strong enough. Okay, but he's still young, energetic. Just remember, I always like to remind all the good people in the church. Don't let that translation fool you. That is a bad, wrong translation. God record every wrong everyone do, everyone did. And we also have to remember so we will not be STPID, suffer the second time, the third time. That's bad. And we add evil deeds in the world is no good either. So, but think no evil. Love is think no evil. That means what? Do not revenge. That's Romans chapter 12, verse 19 to 20. Okay, very clear. Revenge, leave it to God. God knows how to make it right for us. All this year, I practice that. Not because I do not know how to revenge, but God tell me not to do it. And that's what I do, not to do it. Of course, some people, when they're evil enough, they don't believe that. Because we Chinese people have one thing, they're scared. Refrain in 10 years is not too late. 10年報仇啊，唔遲啊。Okay? And you refrain if you do first day of the month, I will do 15 day of the month. 你做初一，我做15，有冇聽過啊？有聽過。Okay, we don't do those things. We move on with our love, with our life. We keep moving on to do the Lord's work, to live a life that glorifies God. As I say, people are here are very, very blessed because I'm granted, God granted me to discover all these good lessons to share. Not because I'm good, not because I'm smart. It's because God granted me and God granted you to have the opportunity to learn. Love does not delight in evil. I never like it. Rejoice with the truth. Let me give you one real life example. Recently, when I went to a supermarket to buy some food, I encountered Korean believers pass out those gospel tracts. They call gospel tracts. Some in Chinese, some in English. Every time when I saw them, I want to talk to them. So I talked to one of them. I said, do you know what says in John 3:16? Of course, I know all the time. I said, can you read your Korean Bible? What is the first word in your Korean Bible? Too bad I don't know how to speak Korean. Also, you know how to speak Korean? I have to ask in English. What is the first word in Korean Bible? They don't care. They have no love for the truth. When I try to talk to them, because I saw their gospel tract in Chinese, start with God. Their English, they translate the Chinese into English. In the English text, they start with God so loved the world. I also know when I saw that, when they translate their Korean Bible on John chapter 3 verse 16, they translate from the Chinese Bible. And the Chinese Bible starts with the word God so loved the world. So they translate into English. They start with God so loved the world. And that is clear to me, very clear to me. When they wrote the gospel tract in English, they did not even check the English Bible. Understand? They didn't even check the English Bible for John 3:16. But for me, I always check. I do not believe my English is good enough to translate correct Chinese into English and correct English into Chinese. So in my sharing of the Bible, in my study, I always check English version, Greek version. If I wrote it in Chinese, I check the Chinese Bible. And if I need to say it in English, I check the English Bible. Understand? I copy English Bible translation with KJV, with ASV, with NIV, all those things. I will check. When I wrote Chinese gospel tract, I check Chinese Bible, check quite a few Bible translations. When I wrote it in English Bible, in English, I check English Bible. They don't even do that. They translate the Chinese into English. They translate the Chinese into Korean and Chinese into English. And they will watch for love. God loves the world. Okay? It's horrible. It's pitiful. But they have no love for God, or for the truth. You see? Here he said what? Love. Love does not, but rejoice with the truth. When I try to share with them the truth in the Bible, they don't love it. They don't rejoice. They walk away. They don't even talk to me. All they want is what? You receive. Oh, good, I come with you. That's all they expect. Of course, I do that too. When I go out to pass out the gospel tract in front of the church building, I wish that he will come in. See that? I do too. But if someone questions about the scripture, I will say, how about this afternoon? You come back. Understand? I will spend 2-3 hours with you. Let us study. At least you should. I will be very delighted. Understand now? Right here, everybody. I will rejoice with the truth with them. Got it? Why not everybody like me? When you mention a Bible, study, I don't have to eat. My wife can tell you that. I forget eating. Okay? Now, that's what it said. Rejoice with the truth. Got that? I'm very, in one thing, I'm very different from people in the world. Like when you go to bank, I don't think some of you do not even go to bank anymore. All you need is just your iPhone. But when you go to a bank to cash a check, okay? Whenever I go to a bank to cash a check, the cashier already count one time and count another time in front of you, right? That's what I do. They count one time and count one in front of you, right? Like that. I saw lots of people, they say, grab the money and then stand there, count. What for? To me, what for? I just grab it, stick it into my pocket. I watch him, she already count. You see, count one and count to you, and people still stand there, count. What for? To me, it's what for? Okay? When it comes to money, I don't care. But when it comes to truth in the Bible, I check this, that. That's a difference. And love always protect, always trust, always hope, always persevere. Love never fail. I think love never ended is better translation. Whatever you like to do. Okay? Now, there was a love for people. In all the wedding, most of the wedding, you will hear that. You will hear that. In the wedding when I conducted, this is usually read. Now, love of God. Everyone believing, remember the word believing, that Jesus is the Christ, had been born of God, begotten, had been born, okay? And everyone loving the begotten one had been born of God. I don't know what makes it so complicated. If you have the love, if you believe Jesus is the Christ, you will love all the people in the church of Christ. That's what that means. Okay? Anyone believe Jesus is the Christ, that person will love all the people in the church of Christ. That's what that means. See? My translation, John Chan's translation. That's what it means. By this we know that we love the children of God. Whenever we love God and the commandment of Him we do. Okay? For this is the love of God, in order that the commandments of God we keep, and the commandments of God are not burdensome, hard to obey. I have a quotation here in the Chinese. Obey God's commandment is love God. Love God is obey God's commandment. Why we obey God's commandment? Love God. Okay, we love God. We will obey His commandment. Obey His commandment is love, is the love of God. Because everything having been born of God overcome the world. And this is a victory overcoming the world. The faith of us. We believe Jesus is the Christ. We can overcome the world because we believe Jesus is the Christ. Now the above is from word for word translation. So if you check it, NIV, ASV, whatever we may be a little bit different, but it's from the word for word translation. The above were written. This is another case that I found. 1 John written to some people, specific people. You found that in chapter 2, verse 1. Usually in chapter 1, verse 1. Okay? But in this one, is chapter 2, verse 1. In chapter 2, verse 1, you will see, you can read Apostle John was talking to my little children. I'm writing this to you so that you may not sin. Okay, this is about people in the Church of Christ, people who are already saved. Of course, I have some people, one person especially, at least 35 years ago, on the telephone call. At that time, I had quite a few people call in to ask about believe Jesus. And I had this man, he told me he was baptized 40 years. He never committed sin. In 40 years, never commit one sin. I congratulate him. I do not argue with people like that. And I do not argue with people with their own conviction, their own experience. I said, but I'm not as good as you are. All these 50 years, I commit a lot of mistakes, if you don't want to say sin. But if anyone does sin, you see that it says here, we can still make mistakes. And we have an advocate with the Father Jesus Christ, the righteous. So when some people say, I'm not perfect, nobody is perfect. If we are perfect, why do we need to believe Jesus? It's precisely we are not perfect. It says over here, it's very clear. I heard some people always say, I do not want to get baptized. I do not want to become a member of the church because I'm not perfect. There's something that I cannot do, things like that. Okay? If you have that, it's not fit with this kind of scripture because it said, this is about after your baptism. After you are baptized, if anyone does sin, you see, we're still able to make mistakes, capable. We have an advocate. That's why we have an advocate with the Father, Jesus Christ, the righteous. Jesus will pray for us, will help us to get remission. Do not love the world or the thing in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in him. Memorize these words, okay? Anyone who loves the world, the love of God is not in him. The Bible said that, not me, okay? Here is the scripture. 1 John 2:15. If you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. Okay? I don't know how to say it. I just read it. That's what I do. Okay? I don't know why those Korean people, when they write English tract, they don't use the English Bible. They translate from the Chinese. Hey, these people. In my mentoring preaching, I think I did a not so nice thing. But I don't know how to explain in English. 冷笑. Suddenly, I came out of a thing like that. 冷笑 is what? Sarcastic or whatever. A cold smile. Okay? 小魔翻譯 cold smile. Ice. I see left. Okay, whatever you do. I don't care actually. But it's true. The love of God is not in him. Okay? Because they don't love the truth in the Bible. They have the love to go out, to spend the time, to pass out those gospel tracts. But they don't have the love, they don't rejoice with the truth. Now that's true. Reality. My personal experience. Okay? Now, here is what Jesus said about love of God. Jesus said about the love of God. Be careful. Learn it very well, okay? If you love me, you will obey what I command. Very easy. Somehow this verse I remember all my life. The first time I heard it, it gets stuck in my mind. Hey, listen, put this in your head. Jesus said, if you love me, you obey my command. Remember that. If you love God, you obey his command. Now, here is a very good story from the Bible. When they had finished eating, Jesus cooked for them. Okay, Jesus was a chef for them, cooked for them, and is ordered food, fish. Okay, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you truly love me more than this? Peter answered, yes, Lord. You know that I love you. Jesus said what? Feed my lambs. How do you love God? Feed my lamb. Do you love me? Peter said, yes, Lord, you know I love you. What did Jesus say? You feed my lamb. The second time, Jesus said to him again the second time, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter answered, yes, Lord, you know I love you. What did Jesus say? Tend my sheep. Okay? The third time, Jesus said, son of John, do you love me? Peter was sad because Jesus asked him the third time. He said, Lord, you know all things. You know I love you. For the third time. What did Jesus say? Jesus said to him, you feed my sheep. Some people have a big story to write a book on this. But to me, I don't have that ability. I don't have that education. All I do is about the same thing. Feed, tend, take care. Okay? Now listen, learn this from me. Very simple and practical. If you love God, you love, take care all the people in the church. Understand, Joshua? That's why we're here. That's why you test the temperature. Of course, Titus always do this thing too. That's why we do all these things. We take care of each other. That's love for God. Understand now? Easy. Remember, okay? Easy to practice. If you love God, you will love the people in the church of Christ. You will have each other in there. Okay? Take care of each other. Peter, do you love me? Yes, I love you. Take care of my sheep. The second time, Peter, do you love me? Yes, I love you. Take care of my sheep. The third time, same thing. You can analyze whatever you do. But for me, it's simple. Now, only the Church of Christ has love for God. This is not presumptuous. It's reality. It's reality. And it's true. Is my English clear enough? It's reality. It's true. Because we insist to obey the command of God according to what's written in the Bible. One thing that frustrates me all my life is singing. And I take it as a thorn in my flesh. As Apostle Paul said, to keep me humble. Because there's at least one thing I cannot do, is sing very well. Okay? I don't have it. I wish so much, we have so many good singing, good voice over here in this church. They can come up me singing. Understand? But we have to insist, obey Hebrew chapter 13 verse 15. In worship to God, okay? We use the fruit, and we have to use men, okay, to do the conducting, to do the leading, and that is to obey the command of God. The Lord added the Savior into the church of Christ. This is not presumptuous. This is correct translation. The word of Christ, I put it in there for our understanding, and everybody understand. Acts chapter 2:47. It said the Lord added to the church. We know that. Everybody know that. That's why you don't have to say Church of Christ, because all the church is Church of Christ. In the first 500 years, everybody know that. In the Bible, they all Church of Christ. That's why Romans chapter 16 verse 16 said, Church of Christ salute you. Okay? Because they are all Church of Christ. That's why you only need to say church. Because everybody understands that's Church of Christ. Let there be no denomination among you. Among Jesus believers, no denomination. 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verse 10. The scripture specifies, in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ, let there be no denomination among you. A command of God. We kept it. Why we keep it? Because we have love of God. Understand now? Everybody understand? We keep the command of God. Why? We love God. Because we have the love of God. Now, plus Bible warnings. Denomination is sick head, thinking upside down, sinful, self-condemned. This one is from NIV. Even NIV Bible translate that. Of course, the first one, they use the word W-A-R-P, walk. Okay, W-A-R-P, walked. But the word I searched here from the dictionary, actually it means what? Their head is sick. Their thinking is upside down. Denomination people is sick in the head and thinking upside down and sinful and self-condemned. But those so-called believers, they insist to join denomination church. They stand up. We believe Jesus is the Christ. We are whatever denomination. Okay, this is sick in the head. They do not obey the commandment of God. And they say, we love God, we love God. Too bad they don't understand Chinese. Because in Chinese, I always have this thing. Because they say they always like to bow their head and pray. Lord, Lord, Lord. Yeah, okay, stop it, I remember. The Pentecostal church, Pentecostal denomination, they love to say long prayer. The Assembly of God people, they have activity, children activity, teenagers. My wife and I, we take a walk around the neighborhood. Their children, quite a few, come out from the same car. They have been somewhere. Nobody wear mask. No mask. Nobody wear this. Even the adult, their teacher, their leader, they don't wear this. Okay? And their church. Anyone does not teach what Bible says, do not associate with him. Jesus prayed, for my prayer is not for them alone. I pray also for those who have believed in me through their message, and all of them may be one. Father, just as you are in me, I in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. I have given them the glory that you gave me, that they may be one as we are one. See, Jesus' prayer was one, 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 one. I in them and you in me, may they be brought to complete unity. Let the world know that you sent me, and love them even as you have loved me. Now, conclusion now. No salvation of the soul beside the Church of Christ. Because in this world, in reality, only the Church of Christ insists obey the command of God. Jesus said, you hypocrite, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far away from me. All over the world, beside the Church of Christ, their heart is far away from God. How do we know? They disobey the command of God. The Lord, if you believe Jesus is the Lord in Christ, you will be in Church of Christ because God put you there. They worship me in vain, their teaching but rules taught by men. Jesus said, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and do not do what I said? See, 2,000 years ago, the same thing. Especially, I use the NIV over here. You see, I pointed out, this is even NIV said that. I especially quote NIV Bible on point number 5 in Chinese, okay? I want all to know, those who read NIV Bible, do not do what Bible says. What this means? They have no love of God in them. They have no love of God in them. If they say they do, they lie. Because it's according to my logic is from the Bible. If you love God, you will what? Do what the Bible says. Is the name of your church in the Bible? See? Cover all. Just already. Okay? You don't have to wait for the judgment day. It's already judged. The name of your church is not in the Bible. It's already judged. You are not safe. What is love of God? Read this. Don't take out your mask, okay? Read this with your mind. Obey God's command. Says, sorry, Kevin, cover up your mouth and say, one, everybody. Everybody. What is love God? Obey God's command. One more time. What is love God? Obey God's command. Thank you. May the Lord bless you. Peter, not here.